ADA, also known as Cardano. Where can it go from here? Can it possibly 10x in the year 2024? We're going to cover that, look at some key levels, and say, what the heck is up with ADA? Time to go around. Thank you, everybody. If you heard a little, heard double Deezy there, I didn't have my own screen on mute. I'm just pulling up your chat right before we went live. And folks, go ahead, hit that like button. We got two phenomenal guests on today. We got Matt Snider. Make sure you check out his book, Best Like Warren Buffett in a Web3 World. Also on, we have Jake Claver. You may say, wait, wasn't he in Sopranos? Maybe a movie? No, you're thinking of Cleaver. We have Jake Claver on. He's beyond broke. He's so beyond, he's ascended to the next level where he isn't broke. But we're going to talk about Canada attacking Bitcoin. And then it's going to be all Cardano, baby, because we definitely have to talk about ADA. But first, let's share this Trudeau story. I actually might want to read from this a little bit because it has some really good just salient points. Justin Trudeau infringed freedoms in the truck drivers' Bitcoin funding ban. The judge ruled here. This was a Bitcoin crowdfunding attempt that they made back in 2022. But there's a public inquiry, and they deemed that the government acted appropriately when it was invoked. However, more pressure started to build, and then it led to a judicial review. Well, on Tuesday, the federal court in Canada found that Trudeau was not justified in their response. It was against the vaccinations. And truckers, they set up blockades on key roads and brought Ottawa to a standstill, provoking the mayor to declare a state of emergency. Trudeau invoked the 1988 Emergencies Act to ban gathering and halt crowdfunding efforts. And just lastly here, it led to a so-called Freedom Convoy 22, where we ended up switching to a Bitcoin-powered alternative. It raised $500,000, including a one Bitcoin donation from Kraken CEO and founder Jesse Powell. Well, Matthew, I know you're covering this or, looking at this when it happened last year. Well, just broadly speaking, what were your thoughts over the Freedom Convoy? What's your 2 cents here?
I always find it really ironic when protests take on a very meta form. So you have these people in these trucks who are, going along the road and they need to go back and forth, and there's a lot of freeways and et cetera. And all of a sudden they say, well, we're just going to stop driving the cars, and then make it impossible for other people to drive. So I always find that sort of like interesting in how they go about the protest. I know this was a big problem last year, caused a lot of logistical issues. And I don't want to say that it's necessarily a result of some of the inflation, but it certainly exacerbated a lot of the work that was going on, especially in the shipping lanes and all the logistics associated. So definitely a challenging problem to overcome. Didn't really realize that Bitcoin was involved until I read this article, though. So very interesting to see.
Yeah, they ended up having to pivot because they started freezing the bank accounts. Now, Jake, what are your thoughts when you saw them start freezing bank accounts? The truckers pivoted to crypto. When you saw that happen, what were you thinking at the time?
Well, I think it's interesting how you can utilize this, and people want that to be the case, right? Now we've got the Bitcoin ETFs and it's becoming institutional, but a lot of people want this to remain decentralized and separate of the traditional banking system so that they can transact, and there's not a way for governments or enterprises or people that you may not want to incumbent your ability to move funds. I think that it's a fantastic use case for it. I don't think that they were justified in what they did. Obviously, if there's that much turmoil and there's problems, they're causing people to riot and blockade freeways. There's probably some larger problems at hand. Again, Matt pointed out the inflation and a lot of the problems that have occurred since 2020 and COVID. I don't know if I can say that on your channel. Hopefully, you don't get banned.
It's all right. We're on the around the blockchain channel, so we can go around the block when it comes to these pandemics. Well, Jake, I do have a quick follow up though, real quick. We saw this clampdown on crypto donations. Do you think history is going to repeat itself? Are we going to have to do this in America anytime in the near future? Do you see the government, whether it's this administration or the next one, cracking down on anti-government protests and then attacking our bank accounts? Or is that just unfounded and it's only our maple neighbors to the north?
Yeah, I don't see that happening here in the U.S. And I could be wrong, but I find that extremely unlikely. Obviously, if you evade taxes and do things that are illegal, they have the capability to lock your bank accounts. But I think that we have rights that are inherent here in the U.S. that are listed, in the Constitution that shouldn't be infringed upon. And I don't think that our government will overstep those and start doing that. But if they do, then we've always got cryptocurrency, right?
Well, Yuval Harari yesterday said your rights are a story. But it's I actually agree with that. Now, Matthew, last question on this topic, and then we're going to talk about some Cardano. I want to ask you, Canadian citizens, they saw what was happening. Maybe half the country, maybe their media sources were distorting it. Maybe not. I don't know. I have to ask Matty B. But do you think once this happened and they cracked down on truckers' bank accounts and those truckers then turned to crypto, did that lead to any kind of real adoption of crypto of Canadian citizens?
That's a great question. I think it has a twofold effect. One, where you have regulators and lawmakers going, man, I wish they didn't have this other amazing way that they could transact value with each other without the need of an intermediary or a central party. Gosh, it would be terrible for them to do that. So I think it's a real, like a red light siren to regulators and lawmakers in the space, especially in Canada or whatever country you're in, to say, man, this stuff's real. People can do this, and it's really tough to stop. So I think you've got a really big note there. And then on the other side, you've got people who are maybe common retail investors or people who have their own unions or groups, and they say, oh man, this is a really good use case for a way to bring some power back into our community or our group. So it may have spurred some adoption. And if anything, at least it got the news out there. So people are asking the question, what is Bitcoin? What is blockchain? How can I use this technology? And what's so great about it?
All right. And chat seems pretty strongly in support of the truckers here. Truckers in the U.S. pay 70% of road taxes annually. The backbone, Truckdano. Is this the perfect episode for you? Cardano, trucks. I think if you're not hitting the like button, you need to double, triple, quintuple smash that like button, because clearly this episode's for you. Ada, some Cardano comments. I know you guys are ready for that. One more. Back the truckers from Time, a lifeblood. I think we're all in agreement. Until the robots replace them, at least, and then we'll say, hey, I guess you're free to pursue other interests, or, what do they say? No, now you can do something creative. We'll see how that plans out. All right, well, let's talk a little Cardano, folks. And the main topic I want to talk about is development activity. Santiment just tweeted out an update of dev commits. These are developers who are committing code on the GitHub repository here. Santiment just tweeted this out. Here are crypto's top coins by development activity. Notable GitHub commits of the past 30 days. Number 1, we have Cardano, 332.9. Number 2 coming in, Polkadot, Kusama, kind of related. You might even say, well, that should put them ahead. Optimism, Status, HBAR, Cosmos, ICP, Chainlink, then Ethereum down there at 10th place. But Cardano leading the way. Jake, what are your thoughts on Cardano? You like Cardano?
I do like Cardano. I like Hoskinson. There's been some back and forth with him and a few other communities, but I think that Cardano is one of those that I think is like looking for its use case. I know that there's a lot of people that would argue there already are a ton of dApps that are built out on the network that are being scaled for different things. But I think about Hedera, and I'm like, okay, dApps for Web3, you've got the council, you've got Google, you've got IBM, you've got Dell. There's a lot of people that are associated with that network, and I can kind of see where that's going to go. Cardano is still ambiguous to me. I don't know where it's going to fit in, but I do really like the capabilities that you have on the network and the ability to, scale smart contracts and dApps. I'm just unsure of where it fits in the ecosystem later on.
All right. Now, Matthew, Cardano, it's ranking number 1 for dev activity. Is Cardano going to continue to be a top altcoin into this next bull run? Can it maintain top 10 status?
I definitely agree with Jake in that it's this unique idea where it's really struggling to find its product market fit. I think that there's a ton of people who are using it, and there's a ton of community around it. I personally hold Cardano. I think it's a fantastic chain. But to answer your question from a timing perspective, I think their window is perhaps getting smaller with the rise of other tokens and platforms and ecosystems that are coming around. And they've had a really strong chance and a long runway to capture a lot of activity from users and a lot of ecosystem growth. It's amazing to see that they're number one on the ranking for the commits. I also want to point out it's 2024, maybe for the last 6-7 months. Am I the only one that forgot about Polkadot? Like, there's been no news about Polkadot. I've completely forgotten about Polkadot. It doesn't really show up in any news ecosystem. So I just found that kind of funny that they're ranked number 2 and I don't see any news about them.
You know what? I'm actually working on Polkadot videos right now. I've filmed 2 in the last 2 days. I have dived into that ecosystem. I've dove head first. So stick around after the show. We'll talk some Polkadot. Awesome. You know what? Maybe at the end of the show, I'll tell you my favorite Polkadot altcoin. You have to buy it with DOT, with a substrate wallet or a different Polkadot enabled wallet, JS wallet. So stay tuned to the end of the show for the secret Polkadot alpha. Now, Matt, you know, you're kind of saying some bearish things there, though. Just throw it back to Matt real quick. Bearish things about Cardano. I mean, is there a chance that Cardano is dead and will fall out of even top 20?
I certainly hope not. I think that they've got a lot of amazing things going for them, but I almost sometimes equate them to the Linux of this ecosystem, and I may get like put up
the
crucified
nerds
for
like
this,
it,
but like, yeah, I think that it's still struggling to find its product market fit. They've got a ton of great use cases, and it's not that there's anything bullish about it. I just think there's bearish. I think there's a lot more bullish activity going on other platforms, and certainly a lot of this is overshadowed by the meme tokens on Solana and some of the other players that are coming in, like Hedera, in this space. So again, I'm not bearish on it entirely. I think it's one of those. It's a better stable coin than Ripple, which I think Jenna will appreciate. And I'm really hoping that they can really get some traction and some good use case proliferation over the next couple of years.
Traction's definitely going to be needed. Now, Jake, I'm looking at a comment, then I'm asking you a question. Web3 me, ADO slow mover, 3 to 5x in the bull run. I want to say we're a little bit above 50 cents. So, you know, 3 to 5x, $1.50 to $2.50. Let's round up and say, you know, closer to $3, $2.50 to $3. My question, though, is, you know, 1, what do you think of that price target? 2, does dev activity equate to the price pumping?
I think it has absolutely nothing to do with it in the current environment. I think everything's still complete speculation. And if I was going to speculate on price, I was blessed enough to get into Cardano at like 9 cents back in 2020. And got to ride that up, you know.
All right, Jake, what did you sell? Did you take profits? Was it at $1, $2, $3? Okay, what was your profit taking activities there?
Yeah, so I like to take 10% off the table at every X, right? So, you know, when you double, triple, quadruple, I'm just pulling 10% of whatever's there.
So
right?
you were selling at 18 cents, 27 cents, you know, we're rounding or whatever. So you were taking some profits. You're just like me at Chainlink. I sold all my Chainlink that I bought at $2 once it reached $4. It later hit 50.
That was my mistake. That was the problem I had. And that was the same token. That was the first thing I ever bought was Chainlink. I got in at like $3.96. And when it doubled, I just liquidated my position and then missed out on all the other gains. Right?
Yeah, you were my exit liquidity. And I'm like, oh, I'm the smart one. And then you end up being the winner. And then you use someone else's for for exit liquidity. And you're like, oh, I'm the smart one. And, you know, we saw how that played out. All right. Well, Matt, I want to ask you one more. You know, not only will it be in the top 10, Matt, let's go one step even higher. And then I'm going to change the word. Does it belong in the top 5?
Can we take out stable coins?
Stable coins. No stable coins. Sure.
Yeah, I think it belongs in the top 5. I think it's definitely got its staying power. It's got its use cases. It's got its community. I definitely agree again with Jake that developer activity should not equate to price, especially considering it's all speculation. What will be great to see is with that dev activity, if they actually put out applications that people are using and can gain traction. I don't know if there's a ton of even Web3 gaming protocols that are going on Cardano. I'd be curious to look into that a little bit more. Okay, so yeah, they do have some. I feel like it's one of those things I need to, as a holder, I probably just need to do more research on the newer updates that are coming out with it.
All right. Well, let's share my screen. I'm going to throw out some factoids when it comes to Cardano. One, it's low October 19th, 24 cents. It shot up at 185% in less than 2 months when it went to 70 cents on December 14th. In the last week, it is down 10%. In the last month, it is down 21%. However, in the past year, it is up 23%. Notably, volume is also up today, up to 500 million. It was 300 million a few days ago. Bullish metric right here. Total value locked has risen by more than 300% in the last 12 months, more than any other top 10 blockchain. 157 apps, and the number of Plutus smart contracts has now reached 24,050. I think JPEG Junkie's responsible for at least one. I think maybe even several right there. So there's some quick stats at you real quick. Now, I'm going to pull up taptools.io. These are Cardano projects with native assets, Cardano native tokens, CNTs. We share my screen. The biggest, besides Cardano, biggest by market cap, AGIX is the AI play, then followed by telecom play, then followed by meme coin, and then the gaming play. That's what I was talking about there, Matt Copey, if you want to check that out. But AGIX, what are your thoughts on Matt? What are your thoughts on the Cardano altcoin ecosystem there? Is there something there? Are there any projects that you like, that you find attractive, or is it still too nascent? Is it still too new?
The one that I actually really think is pretty unique, and it's the one that you actually turned me on to, DZ, which is book.io, which has a really interesting use case about being able to fractionalize or make books into tokens in a sense, and have royalties splits and all these amazing things that artists and content creators should be able to enjoy. I think the Kopi ecosystem, I definitely want to look into that. It's great to see the proliferation of these tokens, though. Like, it's great to see the competition. It's great to see them growing in this environment and trying new things and really bringing in some firepower to a new burgeoning ecosystem.
All right, folks, if you want to check that out, it's actually ranked number 9. It is only a $24 million market cap right there. And they just minted Don Quixote yesterday. And Jack Fricks has a book out today. Jack, I'm going to go mint your book as soon as I'm done with this show. I'm going to go mint that. So I definitely want to support the book ecosystem. All right, Jake, what are your thoughts on the Cardano altcoin ecosystem? Is there something there, or are we still too early?
I did not even know it existed, if I'm going to be transparent with you. So I'm going to say too nascent. Maybe I'm wrong. I know that there's a lot of people out there that do really enjoy Cardano and that ecosystem, and they're building on it. Like I said, there's like over 200 something dApps that have been built out on the network. Again, I just haven't seen one that's really taken any market by the balls and like gotten, some ahead of other people in any way. I'm hopeful that actually takes place and see some real appreciation in the asset. Like you said, if we had some development on the network that caused volume and that actually moved price, I'm really looking forward to the day when price is driven by utility on these networks and not speculation. I just don't think we're there yet.
Seems like chat, kind of coming in split. C90 with a comment for Matt here. What does Matt know about books? What's that? Oh, go grab Matt's book, Warren Buffett in a Web3 World. Thank you for the plug there, C90. If you don't know, Matt's a published author, so go check out his book. You can find it on his X platform. Time, pretty good comment here. I wouldn't hold my breath with ADA. It isn't a marketing machine. I would concur with that statement. Well, Jake, let me follow you up with this on the dev ecosystem. Why do ETH devs and Solana devs hate Cardano so much? Do you have any theories?
Because Ethereum is slow and expensive, and Cardano's not.
Ooh. So it's a gas fees issue. It's a little bit of maybe, I don't want to say a little hating, but maybe a little jealousy, even envy.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot of smart contract protocols and networks that end up superseding Ethereum in the long term. And, there's probably some people watching this that don't like that. I've got clients that hold significant positions in ETH. And, I hope I'm wrong. I hope they continue to make a whole bunch of money. I hope it goes to $10,000 like everybody hopes. But I kind of view it more as the Alta Vista or the Napster first mover in smart contracts. Slow, clunky, expensive. And I think that there's a lot of other networks that provide just more efficient ways to transact business than Ethereum. And, they can talk about layer twos and all the other things that have been built out. But I think you need an efficient layer one that has low latency and low fees to really scale smart contracts. And so, maybe that's Cardano. We'll see.
All right. Well, Matt, I want to ask you a question about the leader, the figurehead of Cardano. Snowcone has a comment here. Charles is the Trump of Cardano. Is that a fair statement?
No, I don't know like what that means, but I do want to say
it definitely means different things to different people.
Yeah, I will say to Jake's point, these slow, clunky, and expensive things about Ethereum, they're all features. They're all things that make it great. They're all things that make it a premium service over other chains. So I'm eager to see where that ecosystem goes in the future.
I'll say this about Ethereum. It's the old saying is Ethereum is unusable. Why? Because everyone's using it. Or I'm sorry, no one uses Ethereum. Why? Because the gas fees are too high because everyone uses it.
Right.
Wait, what? So that's just a little, I don't know, just a little substance there for you people there when it comes to activities here. All right, well, let's do bold price predictions. And I'll go ahead and start. I want a price prediction for 2024 and a price prediction for 2025. I'm largely coming in with the thought 2024 is going to be a year for most strong projects to reach previous all-time highs, maybe even add 10 to 30, 40%, depending on the project. I'm going to go ahead and say Cardano, December 31st, 2024, $2.87. 2025, we're going to reach a high, $6.69. Jake, I'll start with you. What's your 2024 year-end target, and what's the high for 25?
We're moving into another bull cycle here. We got the halvening coming up, kind of in a little downtrend now, and it's an election year, so there's a lot of considerations around this. And then do we move from speculation to utility? Maybe I think we could see some pretty good action toward the end of the year for Cardano, maybe 10x from current price. So what's that? Puts us $6 ish. And then if you continue to have adoption and we get real world use case, so if those things happen and you had more volume on the network, maybe double that in 2025. So 6 and 12.
Okay, 6 and 12. All right, chat, I want you to hit the like button if you hold Cardano, and then we'll check the likes versus views, and we'll get a good idea of how many of you guys are holding Cardano. Matt, what's your 2024 year-end price prediction? How high can it go in 2025?
So I'm going to take the conservative bet here. And it's crazy to think that this is a conservative bet, but then again, we're talking about
crypto broke us,
If it doesn't have an X in front of it, I don't want to know about it. None of these decimal point percentages for me, 5%, 10%. Warren Buffett grew 20% over 60 years, 3.3 million % return over 60 years. And people are like calling 20% ridiculous. Okay, so I'm going to say end of 2020. It's FUD. Yeah, 20% is FUD. End of the year, I'm going to say it's a 3x to about $1.50, $1.60, and then I think another 2x from there in 2025. I think you get to $3.50. I would love to be there, quite frankly, but I want to take the conservative approach and not overstretch. It hasn't proven to be hyped and pumped and marketed enough to warrant the average 10x return that we're going to see for many of these tokens over the course of the next 2 years.
Well, was it hyped relative enough for 2021 when it jumped to $3.09 in September, I believe? Now, remember, this was not exactly super bullish period. Bitcoin dumped in June and July. Bitcoin wasn't going to put in a new all-time high until November. And September is the month Cardano shot to $3.09. Was it about that time period that made it pump then, and will history repeat itself, Matt?
I think that it does have an interesting property of a lot of pent-up demand. So I do think that it might have a Solana-like run where you just kind of out of nowhere outperform a ton of other assets for inexplicable reasons. And so I think that that's definitely a possibility. I do think that pent-up demand for tokens and ones that do nothing or ones that are out of favor have the best potential for massive upside. And that's pretty much the case with any traditional finance or finance or trading in general. The stuff that's out of favor is the stuff you should be looking at, because that's typically when they're going to be in a place that you get a really good price and entry, and you can get your 10x gains if that's what the future holds.
All right, well, folks, I'm gonna wrap up the show with some Cardano deep alt alpha here. I'm pulling back up taptools.io. In the top 10, I will say Book is probably going to be one of the stronger performers right here. Very, very bullish on the Book team. Very bullish on Iagon. This is the file coin of Cardano. It's cloud services. They're going to branch into compute plus storage. And with 2024, I think it's going to be a strong AI narrative year. I expect cloud computing, just a storage facility. I expect all of that to pump very, very hard. Also, Filecoin doesn't have the best tokenomics. I think a lot of people are looking for an exit ramp for that. So I would say Iagon, Book, very, very strong projects if you want to check out things. Plus, there's fun meme coins. You got Hosky, Lobster, Snack, of course. There's some other ones. Bank, I think, has been popping again. So hey, it's got fun. It's got DeFi. It's got actual use cases. It has crypto coins that have revenue models. So I would say check out Cardano. The water is warm, everybody. But I think that's all we're gonna say here. Let's just say, Matt, when did you make your first Cardano buy?
So I made my first Cardano buy at probably a nickel, 2017, 2018, something like that, if I can remember correctly. I've been holding on to it for a while. I don't have I didn't have the same sentiments that Jake did, which I think are actually pretty solid. Just the 10% every 1x, or I think that's a pretty good way to look at it. So I'm definitely old in the ecosystem. I've been getting those passive returns, and now that you're going down that list, I'm seeing some of those altcoins that I put into pools that I was getting like airdrop these tokens, and I've completely forgotten where that wallet is. So after this show, I'm going to go. Oh yeah, I got to go find a bunch of these now. I probably have like $12 worth of tokens that I can go find.
Well, dude, I mean, hey, you might have hit a winner, and it could be a lot more. Yeah, if you want to learn about Cardano DeFi, I think I have a tweet about it. But MinSwap, M-I-N, not like Matt Dudes, MinSwap. That if you type in that's a different website. It's going to be a whole different thing there. I think that site's probably illegal in some Muslim countries there. But yeah, check out MinSwap if you want to stake your tokens, get your Cardano and these other assets working for you. But be careful about impermanent loss. I was staking Snake, and Snake had pumped outsized compared to Cardano. I lost 45% of my Snake tokens, but I gained Cardano. But what would you rather? I don't know. So it's just something to think about, folks. But I was gonna let whoever got Cardano the cheapest in the show, and Matt, he got you beat. Matt beat Jake by 4 cents, it looks like. So Matt, feel free, wrap up the show. We'll leave you with your parting thoughts.
Just want to encourage everybody again. We're seeing some interesting dynamics in the market right now. All of this is accumulation. All of this is really good to see. We've got the Bitcoin Trust, liquidity kind of coming out of the ecosystem. I think we're definitely getting ready for another leg up. So stay safe out there. Don't click any links. A lot of crazy stuff going around. And, just appreciate y'all coming. This is always great to be here. And thank you, DZ and Jake, for making this an awesome time.
I appreciate y'all coming. That's MinSwap's catchphrase, too. All right, that's all we got, folks. We got to end it there. End it.